I guess we rank for 1 or 2 recipes of 4. And the other 2 we make because we like them or because we think our audience might like it.
That was Hauke Fox, and this is the Chopped Podcast. Hey everyone, I'm Marley of the blog Namely Marley. Thanks for joining me today for the 56th episode of the Chopped Podcast. You know, this is the podcast designed for people just like you, bloggers who love food. So what are we doing here? Well, each week my goal is to share with you interviews, thoughts, stories, everything related to food blogging so that we can all learn together about what works with food blogging and maybe even a little bit about what doesn't. This week's guest is Hauke Fox, sometimes known as Howie, and he's of the site Hurry the Food Up. What are we talking about? Well, I'm really glad that you asked, because today we're talking about something I find so intriguing, which is how to build your SEO strength. I love this idea of looking at SEO as a muscle, and it just takes using it to make it stronger. Because, okay, I have this theory. I think food blogging is like the big brain version of blogging. It's because to be very good at it, I feel like we have to use both the left and the right brain. So stay with me here for just a minute. I'll explain. We have to be really creative as food bloggers, right? You know, there's that artistic side. It's the food photography and the recipe development and the sharing side of social media and really understanding people and you know, learning to love to work with them and help them. To me, that's all the artistic and also the writing, right? Can't forget the writing, the creative writing. That's important. Those are all the kind of artistic sides of food blogging. But then there's also this other side, which is, you know, the strategy behind social media. And there's the spreadsheets and the statistics and the analytics and the number crunching. And it's like all those statistic junkie sides of us can come out. To me, that's really more about the left brain side. And I would put SEO and optimization of that in that category. Personally, I really feel like it requires a little bit of both sides to be successful as a food blogger. So that's one of the reasons I asked Hauke to join us today, because he's actually written a book on SEO for food bloggers, and I think you're going to love it. I know I've taken a look at it, and I think it has a lot of really good examples. We go into some details about some information that you can find in the book, some interview, questions about, particularly about, SEO and how food bloggers can use it. There's a lot more examples in the book and screenshots, and he goes into a lot more detail. So I just wanted to share this with you because I really feel like it's a topic that's really important, which is, not just SEO, but growing your traffic. And if you're working hard on growing your traffic via social media, maybe sharing in groups and spending a lot of time on those sites and, trying to grow your following, Hauke has a message for you. Don't forget about SEO because it can grow your site as well. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping stuff before we go on to the interview. I hope you signed up for the Top Podcast newsletter. We send out some great stuff each week with information about each episode, but also just some general things that we're finding out in the food blogging community as well. So I love sharing those with you. Also, don't forget to mark your calendars for September 22nd through the 23rd for the 2016 Chopped Conference. I am so excited. It's going to be a great conference again, and I am really looking forward to sharing with you more details, but things are still a little under the wraps and I can't share them with you yet, but as soon as I can, I will. Okay, so let's get straight to that interview with Hauke. Get out those earbuds, turn up the volume, and let's talk about all things food blogging and so much more. Hey everyone, I'm happy to have Hauke Fox of the site Hurry the Food Up on the show today. Hauke, welcome to the Chopped Podcast.
Hey Marley, nice to meet you. Glad to be here.
I'm so glad to have you on the show, and I'm really looking forward to talking with you about the book that you've written on ebook. It's an ebook that you've written on SEO strategies and just a lot of the stuff that you've discovered from creating your own blog. But first, I'd like to kind of take a step back and let everybody know more about why it is that you started your blog.
It's actually pretty simple, pretty practical. Way why I decided to start my blog. I talked to Dave. He's a friend of mine I met way back in Australia, and we had the same. We shared the same point of view about meat. At some point, we decided to eat less meat and wanted to do something about it. And we realized the more we were trying to live a vegetarian lifestyle, that it's not so easy to do, especially if you want to get your protein, if you want to eat quick, if you want to find food that you can get in any smaller grocery store. And since we wanted to do an own project anyway, we started the blog. So it's not firstly because of the passion that we love food, it's more of the practical side that we just decided, okay, we want to create quick, easy recipes to make it easier for people to change to a vegetarian lifestyle.
Okay, so I'm going to confess to you something. I have a stereotype, like you're from Germany, right?
Yeah.
And I have this stereotype of Germans being very practical people. Is that bad of me to say that?
No, it's kind of true. I think we're modest as well. Like, we don't get too excited even though we are.
Yes.
So like after a roller coaster, it was like, oh yeah, that was fun. But even that means, yeah, that was the best ride we ever had.
Yes.
But it's, yeah.
You're not the throw your hands in the air going down the roller coaster person.
Yeah, we should be. I think we should be. But I think, the more international the world becomes, hopefully, the more open up the Germans get.
So in other words, it makes sense, though, that your approach to starting your food blog was really one of practicality rather than passion.
It's passion.
Yes.
But it's not because we want to show how awesome our recipes are and that we got from our grandmom or from our aunt. It was more because we wanted to, help people to live a vegetarian lifestyle in an easy way.
And did you think it also kind of encouraged you along the way as well?
Yeah, our blog is our biggest recipe book. I just cook from the blog. So it's
nice.
If no one else would read it, I'd be my best customer. So it's worth to make it. That's good, really.
I think that's kind of Warren Buffett kind of advice. You know, he always says buy the stocks that you of products that you really like. So you're buying your own stock. That's good.
Like that, yeah.
So I'm just curious. As you started your blog, did you come to it with your photography skills intact, or did you have to kind of grow those over time?
I had to grow those. I was a real newbie on anything, really.
Yeah.
And it took me like about 1-2 months to finally get to a stage where I could say, okay, these photos are good. And so it took us a while to really get started.
Did you go ahead and publish those old photos, or did you feel like did you wait to publish until you got the photography?
We started off with 5 recipes.
Yes.
And we published those, and we tried to submit them to Food Gawker and Taste Spotting, and they rejected us.
Yes.
So I realized, okay, these photos are not good enough, and they were right. Those photos were not good enough. And what I did is I pretty much just practiced until those photos got accepted. And then I moved on to more recipes.
I think that's kind of like the rite of passage for a food blogger, is you have to get rejected from Food Gawker, and then you have to feel that pain.
Yeah. I think it's a good way. Of course, on the one hand, they more or less decide, what kind of photography you need to make in order to get accepted.
Yes.
So they take a little bit of your freedom, but on the other hand, it also helps to just improve the quality of your photos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so tell me about Dave. Is he also in Germany, or do you guys do this virtually?
He is based in Hamburg. I live in Berlin. Dave is British, actually, and he does all the copywriting. And his fiancée,
yes,
his girlfriend, she is our recipe creator. So it goes like 3 ways. They create the content and the recipes. I take the photos, do a double check, and then we have a little bit of a, I don't want to say fight, but of course we talk about, okay, how to improve the recipe or what to make, what to change in order to, until we are all satisfied.
I like that very collaborative approach. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it because it's a little bit of a quality assurance approach.
Yes.
We always test our recipes back and forth until we can say, okay, this is good to go.
This will work. Yes. Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's a really good approach. I think sometimes blogging can be very isolating, and so to build in that companionship like that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I do really appreciate that we do this thing together. It's definitely motivating, and it's always good to have a second and third point of view in what we do.
And just one more question on this. Is most of your work virtual, or are you able to get together on a regular basis?
Every now and then, I'd say like every 3 months we meet. But yeah, it's pretty much everything virtual, email, Skype.
Very cool. Okay, so what's the one thing that, how long have you been doing this now, your blog?
It's 1.5 years.
Oh, okay,
exactly, pretty much. Maybe like 1 year and 7 months now.
Okay. So what's one thing that during this time that you found that you like the most about food blogging?
My cooking skills get better, which is pretty good.
Yes, and your photography skills too, right?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, they were very poor in the beginning, and yeah, it took me a while to get to a standard where I could say, okay, my cooking is pretty good now. Like that's great. Nice. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, that's a very good outcome then.
Yeah. So I think I gained like 10 years in my life just because I changed to a healthier lifestyle. So yes. I mean, no idea where this blog is going, but I definitely got back a few years of my life, I'm sure.
Because everything's healthier. Even though, honestly, just cooking at home more is healthier.
Yeah, it's healthier in general because beforehand I was not very I didn't think about what I put in my stomach. Like I loved kebabs, I loved hamburgers, especially the €1 ones here from McDonald's because they're so quick and easy and stuff like that. And yeah, it took me a while to realize that that's not the way to go.
Yes, that's very good. Okay, so what's been something that you just don't really like so much about blogging? Is there anything?
Yeah, sharing stuff.
What do you mean by that?
Like sharing my posts on all those food sharing websites and then sharing everything on Pinterest and then sharing everything on Facebook, Twitter. I like to call it blue collar blogging because you do this all the time over and over again. And I rather like to think about like how to grow and how to, develop the blog instead of being inside and doing all the small things. But
you would be on the white collar side of blogging, right?
I think I just don't like too much repetitive work.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Well, and honestly, I think what you're talking about is, the other stuff is the more creative, how are we going to do this photograph? How are we going to, you don't really want to be the person who's out there, sharing it day to day. I totally get that. I feel that too.
Yeah. Still, I think it's part of blogging, and I think it's important to go to do this. And on the positive side, those things like sharing always gives feedback. People like it or not like it, and I think that's the good part about it. You learn what recipes work, what recipes your audience likes, and you can create a little bit of this product market fit, right?
Yeah. And I think there are some really good tools that help with the sharing now too. So for example, I use CoSchedule that when I schedule the post, I actually can schedule some of the sharing. So it just happens automatically, which is really nice.
That sounds excellent, yeah.
Yes, and there's other tools like I've read about Edgar, and there's all different tools that can help with the sharing in, so that you have to put some time into it, but then it does it for then after that it does it for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
I'll look into it. Nice.
So, one of the reasons I was really excited to talk with you today was because you've written an ebook on SEO, and I think that's a topic that's of great interest to a lot of food bloggers. And so, I was hoping we could talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
You shared some of your, we were friends on Facebook, and you shared some of your stats on your blog and how quickly it's grown. Your page views has really gone up dramatically. And I was just curious if you could share a little bit about, we've talked about the photography and the cooking skills and all these things, but how is it that you came to become, interested in the SEO side of things?
I think it's because, I'm more like the person who likes to get traffic passively, and I was also looking into ways like, okay, what's the best way to share stuff and to get traffic? And I realized people are very, very focused on social media, and I had the impression that people were backing off SEO a little bit because is it just too technical? And that was a little bit of a strategic decision to go more into SEO because I thought it wasn't too competitive.
I see. Whereas social media can feel very competitive at times.
Yes, I think so. And that was one reason. And I also saw that from my traffic sources in the first couple of months, Google was giving me some nice traffic. So I picked my 3 best traffic sources, worked on those. And I realized, okay, Google is giving me the best feedback. So I decided to really put some effort in and master this traffic source, and then move on to another one. That's why I picked SEO.
And that's good. And do you feel? I imagine another thing that's really interesting about SEO, and I guess you could say the same thing about social media too, is that you can kind of do some A/B testing where you try something and then you can go back to Google Analytics and look and see if an impact actually happened, if that actually created results for you.
Yes, you can sort of do it, but it's delayed.
Yes.
That's a little bit the downside of SEO. You usually have like a 2-month, 3-month delay, and then you see if your efforts worked out or not. So you have to have your your recipes and your strategy a little bit structured. Otherwise, you forget about what you did in the past, and then you can't really track back if that worked out. So, I think it's a little more tricky to track SEO, but once you have it down, it works very easily.
Excellent. So, what are some of the things that you found to be the most confusing parts of SEO?
I think it's, first of all, keyword research. In the beginning, many people give up on this. Let's say you might have heard, okay, in order to get your recipes ranked well on Google, you need to find the right keywords, and then you get on page 1 and you get your clicks. So what people do is they just download Yoast SEO or another SEO plugin for their WordPress page and put in a keyword that looks like it gives a lot of traffic, and that's pretty much all the SEO effort. And the trick is, the most difficult part is to get those keywords right, because there's lots of competition out there, and if you don't research your keywords correctly, you get frustrated pretty quickly with SEO.
Yeah, and I like your approach on keyword. I read your book, and I think some of the things that you talk about are really interesting. So, for example, using your keyword search to kind of help you pick an area that's not as competitive. Mm-hmm. So, like, in other words, some keywords are highly competitive. Like, if I was going to do something, on brownies, there's probably no chance in this world that I'm going to rate on the gold standard for SEO, right, is to be on the first page of the Google search, right?
Yeah.
And Martha Stewart and the Food Network, they are just dominating a lot of things on the first page.
Yeah, that's true. Brownies are a very good example. I picked here banana pancakes, for example.
Okay.
We have, if you type in banana pancakes into the Google Keyword Planner, you'll see it's like 110,000 searches a month. And of course, it's almost, if not impossible, to rank on the first page for such a huge competitive keyword. I mean, Jack Johnson wrote a song about banana pancakes. So you have to compete with him even.
Yes.
So what to do, how to rank, or how to get traffic from your banana pancake recipe. The idea is to find more traits about your banana pancake. For example, my ones are vegan. So I checked out, okay, how many searches are there for vegan banana pancakes? what's the competition over there, or if you have gluten-free banana pancakes, or if you have buckwheat banana pancakes, and so on and so forth. You can check out what's the competition there. Of course, you will have less search results, but still a couple of thousand, and ideally, and you have it much easier to rank for your recipe.
Because there's some kind of, if being on the first page, or, even number one is some kind of gold standard, it seems like also another kind of secret sauce to the SEO formula is the more pages that you can rank on the first page for, Google starts to notice that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't exactly know how they do it.
Yes.
But I have the impression that once you are in, Google starts appreciating your recipes or your content more, and you have a higher chance to get to the first page with other content, future content.
So I think, you could take this to an extreme, and you could create some very exotic recipes for, which of course you would be on the first page for. Like I created an elderberry pie recipe, which I'm sure if you search for elderberry pie, I would probably be really high, but not a lot of people are searching for that. So, but what I think I'm hearing you say is take the recipe that you want to do. And if it's banana pancakes, that's a great example, then put some twist on it, that maybe it's banana pancakes with blueberry syrup or whatever that creates some distinction about it, so that, like you say, if there's 3,000 people that are searching for that and you can land on the front page or the first page for that, that's good for you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, we created then the vegan banana pancakes.
Okay.
And if you type it into Google, then you will find us on the first, I think even the first result.
Good job.
And, well, of course, on the other hand, you need to have those searches per month. I think it's like 4,000 searches per month. Yeah. So you get some decent traffic off of it. And yeah, that's exactly it. And that's also a difficult thing, because you have to be creative, and many people give up on exactly this. They have like banana pancakes or brownies or, I don't know, chili soup or something very generic, or sweet potatoes.
Yes.
And they don't put enough focus or not enough thought in how to call the recipe differently.
Right. So and then it takes a little bit of time before you do your post to make sure you get it right. So you could be banana pancakes with flaxseed or whatever, and you just want to search a little bit to get that, extra terminology just right, so that you're kind of finding a sweet spot, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It can take sometimes it's easy, and along the way, maybe for researching a different recipe, you find another keyword that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, I have a recipe for that, or I always wanted to make tofu burger, for example, which actually is a nice keyword. And then you keep that keyword stored somewhere in your list. But yeah, in general, it takes a little bit of effort. But I think it's a little bit of a process. The more you think about finding the right keywords, then the more okay, vegan is a nice keyword I can put in front of a general term, or gluten-free, or protein, or whatever fits your niche, and then you see, okay, there's a whole new world that hasn't been tapped into.
Right.
And you see, okay, this is actually something people are looking for as well.
Yes. Actually, it kind of untaps, I don't know if you've heard of this blue ocean strategy. It's kind of a marketing term where the idea is that you would like to find blue oceans where, not shark-infested waters where everybody's competing for the same little thing, So in some ways, this is kind of like blue ocean marketing strategy.
Exactly. You try to find the blue ocean.
Yes, for the parts where people aren't fighting as much for this piece of real estate. That's kind of nice.
Yes, and it's not too difficult. It is possible, because the same recipe can have so many different names.
Yes.
And people are looking for so many different variations, even though it's the same recipe.
But there's millions of people out there, and not everybody's just going to be searching for the keyword brownies. Some people are going to be searching for, brownies with maple syrup or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you can definitely, find your niche and move in that direction. That's really cool.
Yes.
Now, I want to clarify though, I think there's also some kind of, if we take a step back from that, I think you also have to make sure that your recipe presents well on Google. In other words, using the recipe snippets is probably a good idea.
Yes. I think it's called on-page SEO, where you, you have to make sure that the keyword that you want to rank for is very well presented in your text and on your blog post. It's very easy to do actually if you use one of the WordPress SEO plugins, for example, Yoast SEO.
Yeah.
There is a list and you just tick it off. Okay, I have to have my keyword in the URL. I have to have my keyword in the heading. I have to have it in an H2 heading. I have to have it somewhere in the text like 3 times, and also the alt text inside the picture. And once you got all the list ticked off, then you have your blog post actually already very well set up for SEO. It's simple nowadays.
Yeah, and then I think also making sure the what is that called? It's basically probably like 120 characters of keyword. Or, your keyword is in that, but you want to make sure that's written in a way that entices people to click on that.
I think you talk about the meta description.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Of course, there is also what people read inside the search engine result. If you type in banana pancakes, for example, then you want to have a very enticing title on that search result page. Yes. Plus also a nice meta description, a nice description that explains, okay, what's the recipe about, what's the benefits of the recipe. And that's where you can shine. And I think that's something you have to do. And it's actually a ranking factor too. The more people you are convincing to click on your recipe, the more Google starts to notice, okay, that's a recipe that is, fits to what people are looking for. And then you rank up. You get higher as well.
And having that photo, I mean, I know that there's some kind of controversy about how it is that photo. I mean, some people say that the photo doesn't always show up, but when that photo shows up, if it's a nice photo and it really shows the recipe in a way that that can be enticing as well. Yeah,
I think food photography has to be good in order to have success with SEO. It doesn't have to be like, oh wow, first class, stellar, mega, super photos, but they have to be nice and have to, let's say, they have to be at least food gawker quality. And
yes, that's good. We can start that as a new metric of success, right? We'll call it FQ, food gawker quality.
something in this direction. And this little tiny rich snippet, the photo you see in the search results, I think it's very important. Plus also it would be nice to have a rating.
Really? You use that? I don't use that right now. Is it good to have that?
Yeah, I mean, if my banana pancakes have a 5-star rating, of course they get clicked onto in comparison to your banana pancakes who don't have a rating at all.
Yeah, you're right. Even if only a couple people have rated it, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is also how I use Google. I always look for the good ratings, if there are ratings.
I always look for the pretty pictures. No, to be completely honest, knowing what I know about SEO, when I search for something, I always look for somebody who's not a huge name. Like I scroll down past, I'm sorry, Martha. I scroll down past Martha and past Food Network, and I scroll for the first food blogger to come up.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
That's really good.
So do you think using a process like this will help people, they could improve their rankings with Google?
You mean the process like I laid out in the book?
Yes.
Yes. I'm 100% sure it works because it follows all the rules Google asks you for in order to rank high. Plus, it is, pretty foolproof.
You've had the success in your own site too, right?
That's just me. And I know also, I mean, this research is not based only on my experience, but also on lots of feedback I got, plus also lots of sources I read into. And I tested those resources and found they worked. Actually, when I wrote this book, it took me about 3 months. Of course, everything I put in there, I checked back. Oftentimes I had to read up on this in order to explain it very well. Oftentimes I had to recheck it with a new recipe. I have an example with breakfast egg muffins in there, which I just used. I started to try out things on it, and just to see if if everything I knew before is working again. And yeah, it does. It does work. During this process, just of writing the book and rechecking everything, I think, again, I doubled my SEO traffic, which, was pretty good for me too.
I don't often ask people these to give these numbers, but I know that you shared this on Facebook. So do you mind sharing the amount of traffic that the increase that you experienced?
Yes, it's so SEO is actually my best traffic. And in September, August, when I started writing my book, it was 1,500 visits a day, more or less. And now I'm at around 8,000 SEO or Google visits a day.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
over a 3-month period?
August, September, October, November, December. Yeah, it's like 5-6 months. But yeah, it takes a little while, and of course, it's a little bit of hit and miss as well, because not all recipes will rank very, very high on Google.
Right.
But the more you optimize, the higher the chances are that you find recipes that will rank very high, and eventually your traffic will go up.
Excellent.
Of course, it's January now. People are also looking for more for healthier recipes. For maybe they're looking for a vegetarian lifestyle. So I don't want to say it's all just because of SEO optimizations, also because of the time of the year. But of course, 1,500 in August and now 8,000. It's a very nice increase, I have to say.
I see what you're saying, that the topic that you have is also doing very well, so that helps.
I think now in January, when people have their New Year's resolutions, it helps. I'm sure people are looking more for more healthier recipes now.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the plugins that you use, because you've talked about Yoast. I know that's a really popular one for SEO, and you also talked about the rating. Do you have a plugin that you use to rate your recipes?
No, it's inbuilt. I use WordPress, and it's a premium theme I use. It's called Sahifa, which is a newspaper theme actually, and I modified it a little bit, and it already contained a rating system. But I'm pretty sure all the new themes have a rating system built in.
So those might be recipe snippets will have those too, right? In other words, the plugin that people use to put their recipes up will have probably some kind of rating.
Well, I use Easy Recipe.
Okay.
And I don't think it has a rating system built in. So that would be something you would have to look for in your WordPress theme. I think like the Foodie Pro theme, it has a rating system, or also the Genesis. Different Genesis themes have all rating systems. There are just a few ones who don't. And usually you can find a little box to tick off or on in the general settings. And then you can have ratings.
Oh, that's very good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what's internal within your posts. I know that people talk a lot about H2 headings. Do you think there's some creative ways that people can use that to help boost their posts as far as SEO is concerned?
Well, H2 headings, I can't really say how important they are.
Yeah.
But probably it's better to have them than not. But if you don't have them, I wouldn't be worried too much. We have a pretty simple way of adding H2 headers, which is pretty much like a subheadline for those who are not so familiar with this. We use subheadlines for the health benefits section. So with every recipe, we write why this is actually a healthy recipe, and then we can just say, okay, health benefits, vegan banana pancakes, then have a little paragraph below that, and yeah,
So then you've
that's
repeated your keyword and
exactly
yes.
in the H2
I think
setting.
that's something important to clarify too. Like, okay, let's look at this. You're writing a post on vegan banana pancakes, and you've created vegan banana pancakes as your keywords. It's in your title. It's it's in the URL. But you have other words in your title as well, or would your title be just vegan banana pancakes?
No, we actually called it a little bit different. I think irresistible or authentic vegan banana pancakes, and then you can even add something else to it. You can make it catchy, but I would try to have this keyword vegan banana pancakes somewhere in the front.
Okay.
And let me just check another one. We went for another recipe with the keyword vegan banana muffins. We like banana stuff.
You like bananas, yeah.
Yes. And to make it a little more enticing, we called it irresistible vegan banana muffins with sweet apple chunks. So we have the keyword very much to the front. We put irresistible in front. And we also have a little description about what else is going on with this muffin. It has sweet apple chunks. So it's definitely possible to make it a little more interesting with more words, or a little more descriptive. It doesn't have to be only vegan banana muffins. It can be much more interesting.
But then in that post itself, you've got a subheading that says the health benefits of vegan banana muffins. Right.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, you try to repeat that keyword, as much as you can organically, right? I mean, you don't want to stuff the content too much with it.
Yeah, we do it not too much. We pretty much just, like, what we do is we write our text just as anybody would write it, like what we think, how we can, what we think about the recipe, some tips and tricks and so on. And then I usually go over it just to do some grammar checking and stuff. And then I see, okay, here now Dave wrote this recipe. So I might be just changing this to vegan banana muffins and plug in that way a few more keywords. But we keep it very, very low key. Google is smart now. You don't have to stuff your text into with loads of keywords. They will know what it's about.
Yes. Okay, good. That's good to know too. And let's talk for a second about photographs, because we know in food photography, having big, beautiful photographs is really important.
Yeah.
However, is there a point when you have too many and they're too large and they can slow your site down, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think our site is pretty slow, and it's because, like, one reason is surely the photos. At the moment, I think Google doesn't mind, probably also because our internet connections get faster, and the new mobile phones are also much faster, so everything loads faster and can handle heavier pages. But try to keep the photos like around 150 kilobytes, not too much higher. I think then you're already pretty good to go. And some people have like 10, 11 photos even on just one post. For me, it's personally it feels too much, but I've seen loads of recipes that have that many photos inside a post that are ranking very good on Google. So that's not a problem. It might actually be beneficial because you keep people longer on your website because they have to scroll down so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that. I can see, and in fact, I like that part because I think what I'm hearing you say is kind of follow your passion. If you really just want to take a couple photos, you're fine. But if you want to take a lot, that's fine too. Yeah,
it's definitely, it's fine. Just don't make them too heavy. Like if you have 500 kilobyte photos, your page will load very slowly, and that's definitely not beneficial for SEO.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's kind of an important. I know that there's a lot of tools that can help people minimize the size of their photos. In fact, I think you recommend one in your book.
Yeah, I think it's called Smush It, or I think WP Smush It. It's called now.
Okay.
And it automatically reduces the size of your photos once it's installed, and it's pretty easy. There's no quality loss. So you won't even notice. And with every photo you upload, you lose a couple of kilobytes. So I really recommend using it. It's free. It's free as well. So why not?
Why not? Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about somebody who may be listening to this episode and they have a lot of old content that doesn't meet these kinds of standards that they'd like to. I mean, do you think it's worthwhile to go through old content and kind of update the SEO stuff on it?
Yes. I think it's very, very important, especially because you have this content ready already.
Yes.
And with looking for the right keywords, once on the one hand you practice, get better with keyword research.
Yes.
And on the other hand, you can, with a little effort, really increase your traffic. Because Google will reconsider your content and will re-rank you. This takes at least 2-3 months until you will start ranking for your new keyword, but it's worth it, definitely.
So an example of that could be, we have a recipe on our site for eggless egg salad. It's basically tofu that's, turned into a mock egg salad. And so our photos pretty terrible. I mean, it was just very a little tiny small photo, and it wasn't very good. And at the time we weren't using Yoast. And also at the time, there was a different mindset related to how you named the tags on your site.
Yeah.
And so, I listed everything I could think of to try to, in my mind, I was just looking at it differently. Now I know that your tags really should be more for internal organization for your reader. So
yes,
I would want them to click and the tags on that page should be things like tofu recipes or, eggless egg recipes or whatever, anything that would help my reader go, oh, I want to see more recipes like this one. And they could click on that and move on. So I've kind of been that's an example of one that I could go back to. We reshot the photos. We're going to put those up and then we're going to reshare it on social media.
Yes, I definitely do this. If the photo is really terrible, okay, you can retake the photo. But what you can also do is just optimize those keywords. If there's really not too much competition with your new keyword, you will also rank with a not so good photo. But of course, if you also want to get some traffic from Pinterest, Facebook, eventually a good photo will help.
Oh, that's good to know. So in other words, you don't have to reshoot. You could just go through and fix those keywords. Yeah,
I would go that route. If the photo is not too terrible, if it doesn't meet Food Gawker quality, I might consider reshooting. But if it does, then it's fine, and I would just optimize those keywords and see what happens.
Okay, Hauke, what about those people that, they actually named their recipe banana pancakes?
Yeah.
And there's no way should they consider changing their keyword and actually changing the title of that post?
Yes.
Okay.
They should give it a try everywhere where it's possible. They should put in the optimized keyword. Accept the URL. Don't change the URL because some people might have linked already your recipe somewhere on a different page, and you don't want to break that URL. So don't touch that one. But accept that. Optimize those keywords and wait for 2-3 months, and then also check back and see what happened, because you need to know that things work in order to do them again, right?
Yeah, so what are some things they would be looking for to do it again? So they could maybe set a timer in their calendar to go back in a couple of months and look at Google Analytics and see if that page is getting more views?
Yes, for example, what I regularly do is I check my traffic sources on Google Analytics. Then that's, of course, just Google in general I see. But then there is also another tab that shows search engine traffic. And there is the top 10 list of your pages that receive the most traffic from search engines. And you can also see the top 25. And at some point you will see, okay, wow, there is a new recipe that popped up in my top 25 or in my top 20. And that way, even without very, very specific nitty-gritty tracking, you will see eventually that your stuff worked. That's a loose way of keeping track of stuff, but it also works. So to track my Google traffic, I usually just do a loose tracking. I go to Google Analytics, and then in the acquisition tab, there is also like a search engine optimization tab where you can see all the landing pages that show traffic that came from Google. And if you want to see if a recipe from that you optimized like from 3 months ago, an old one, is now doing better, you can just go through that list and see if it got more clicks. There are also some more tools, but pretty much I just use that and have a little list of recipes that I optimized from the past and see if something happened. I'm a fan of lists.
I like lists too. I like spreadsheets a lot.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. So what about, we also talked about this idea of how many pages that you rank on the first page for. I mean, that's a Webmaster Tools, right?
On how many pages you rank on the first?
I thought you said that earlier on that it's good for your site to show up on the first page of search results. And I believe there are tools that can help you determine how many pages that you're showing up, what position you're showing up on a number of search results for. Is that something that you check also?
Yeah, I think you mean the keywords. So for example, with the Google Analytics or also with Webmaster Tools, you can check for what keywords you're ranking very well with what content.
Okay.
For example, I could check here in Google Analytics in acquisition search engine optimization queries what keywords are very, very successful for my website. For example, I see now here freeletics or vegan pancakes or egg muffins where I rank very well. And that's pretty much what I check every now and then. Like once a week, I have a look what kind of keywords are treating me very well and see, that's interesting, and check back what kind of recipe that is, maybe a way that I can optimize it to push it even a little further. Because usually if you see that a keyword is trying to give you some traffic, you are like not necessarily on the first first 3 results. You might be like on result number 10, but just on page 1. So once you see that you get some traffic from a keyword, you are on page 1, but not much higher.
Yes. Like there's probably 10 to a page, right? Like if you get to 11, you're on page 2.
Yeah, exactly. And the good thing about it is like once you see, oh wow, there's some traffic on it, then you go and see how can I improve it even more so I can rank on page on position number on page, 2, 3, 4, 5, even higher, because that's like where 75% of the people click. If you're in the top 3, you get 75% of the traffic.
Yes.
So that can make a huge difference, and that's what I do. I check the keywords and see which one has potential to reach or to get even higher.
And so to do that, if you see that you're spot number 10 on for those blueberry pancakes, and you've already feel like you've optimized it, what are some things that you do to help move it up to, you call your friends and family and have them click on it, or what?
It's a good question. So pretty much now we wrapped up the 3 pillars of SEO. First, you have to do the keyword research, find those keywords where you have the potential. Then you have to get your on-page SEO right, have the keywords everywhere nicely, and then once you see something is happening with you get some traffic from recipe, then you have to find a way to push it up a little higher so you really get the interesting traffic. And this is something you can do with backlinking. Backlinking it's a pretty simple concept. You have to tell Google somehow, your recipe is important. And this is you can do this by pointing links to your recipe. For example, Food Gawker is a great example. So if you have a link from Food Gawker coming to your recipe, it's a sign for Google, that recipe is important. And if you find more ways to get links to your recipe, it's a big sign for Google that you have a high authority recipe or even high authority content. Doesn't have to be recipe always. And it's very likely that you move up the ranks.
See, I like it that you say that because there are some dialogues within food blogger communities that, why do we even bother going to Food Gawker anymore? Because Food Gawker used to be this huge source of traffic, and that's not necessarily the case anymore, but it does give you a very nice link from a site with a lot of authority.
Yes, exactly. And the great thing is you can place it even yourself. So you don't have to write them, hey, can you please give me a link? No, you can just submit it and that's done.
Yes.
I submit to probably 10 food sharing websites and so on. Many of them don't give me any significant traffic, but they give me this backlink.
Nice.
And I have a little cheat sheet, I call it, with all those food sharing websites. And once I publish a recipe, I try to get a link from all those sites. And then I'm, usually have much more links than most of my competitors already, which is a very good sign for Google.
Right. And that's one way to help you move up from 10 to 8 to 7. Yes.
From page 3 to page 2 to somewhere. It won't help you with banana muffins or banana pancakes because Jack Johnson is a number 1, but you can still rank for less competitive keywords. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Okay. So I just got a couple more questions. I know we've been spending a lot of time on this, but what is your response to people who maybe feel like spending too much time on SEO kind of squelches their passion? Like, you almost look at a spectrum, right? Like on one end is people who blog purely for the passion. They only want to write what they want to write about. And then on the other side could be this more analytical SEO side where you're just kind of following the patterns. Do you see a spot to marry those two?
Yeah, I wouldn't be too focused on SEO in the beginning, but do my keyword research. And over time, you will grow a huge list, a very long list with loads of different keywords that will inspire you to create recipes.
Yeah.
And then you won't have such a big problem to match your recipe creations with your keywords. But still, there is always a recipe. You won't find a keyword that will bring you lots of traffic. So you probably won't rank very well for your lovely recipe creation from your grandmom. And that's okay.
Yeah.
We do this as well. Like, I guess we rank for 1 or 2 recipes of 4. And the other 2 we make because we like them, or because we think our audience might like it, or because we think, okay, this is very, very interesting for people on Pinterest, maybe even. So I think it takes a little while to marry this. Also, the better you get with keyword research, the easier it will become to match your recipes.
Yeah. But
you will have to start slowly, and in the beginning it will be a little bit of a pain to match those 2 things. No question. That's it. Yeah.
Well, I like that, and I think it's actually a formula I've heard other people talk about. This, following your passion on some of your posts, and regardless of whether you can get traffic from it or not. Yeah. But then just creating some kind of formula that you're doing some that are very keyword SEO focused and some that are more passion focused.
Yeah, I definitely go that way. Mm-hmm. Okay,
so just a couple of questions for you. I know that we're running out of time here, but so do you have a favorite social media site that you work with a lot with your site?
Pinterest. It gives the second amount of traffic, and I think it works very well. And then as a third biggest social media source, I use Facebook. Also because you get very nice feedback from people from Facebook.
Yes.
It's more communication, right?
Yes.
It doesn't give you too much traffic. It doesn't give me too much traffic, but it helps me to get feedback. Those two.
And that can be huge. In other words, you don't even have to do a survey of your readers sometimes because you're getting a lot of feedback on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, and then one other question is, do you plan photos or posts out into the future, or are you, you're working on what's going to happen tomorrow on the site, or is it, you've got an editorial calendar and you're working out into the future?
We don't have a calendar because I think it doesn't work too well for us. What works for us is like, okay, we have the whole list of recipes we want to do. We have a list of keywords where we like to find a recipe for, or where we already found one for, and then we work along this list. But it's very dynamic. We try to get to 1-2 recipes a week, but if we don't make it, then it's no problem as well.
I see. So your goal is 1 or 2 recipes a week, and every now and then maybe not, and it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, the thing is, I like to think more about the blog and how to grow traffic. But once you are in a tight schedule, let's say I have to post 2 recipes a week, and you have to put most of your time into reaching this goal, you have not enough time left to think about your blog. And I think thinking about a blog and thinking of, okay, about what way I can grow it and how to monetize the blog better, eventually is much better than repeating something that doesn't work or that lets you stay on the same level. So I don't try to stick to a difficult or to a big schedule, because it's just taking away too much time of thinking about the blog.
You know, what I like, though, is that you've actually reached a pretty decent level of traffic, and you're posting 1 or 2 times a week. It's just nice, because you hear a lot of bloggers who, they're almost posting every day, or they're posting a lot of content. And it's nice to know that there are different approaches out there.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, I didn't figure out everything, how to do it very well and stuff, but I need the time to figure it out, and I don't have enough time if I post 2-3 times a week. Yes. So I rather post a little less, but know what to post and how to post it in order to get the biggest bang out of my recipe.
Yes, I like that. So, okay, what's coming up next for you? Anything that you can talk about right now? You have another book coming?
Yeah, there is another book coming out, and there is another search engine that's very interesting, and I'm looking into at the moment, and it's called Amazon. Yay!
Ah, yes. So you're going to share another book on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon works like Google, except that you have people who are willing to pay for something on Amazon, which you don't necessarily have on Google. So there are exactly the same kind of people who search for something pretty much the same way as people do on Google, like banana pancake or oatmeal recipes and so on and so forth. And if you look well, I think you find interesting niches that don't have a book yet.
Yes.
And that's something I want to look into more.
Ooh, that sounds very exciting. I can't wait to hear more about that. Okay, so
let's see how that works.
Yes. So just some fun questions here at the end of the interview. What's one food item you can't live without?
One food item I can't live without. It's the banana.
Speaking of the banana.
Imagine, I mean, it's perfect, right?
Yes.
You just, it's cheap.
Yep.
Then it has like a container, a natural container, which is well done. You don't even need a bag in order to carry it. You just take your banana, put it in the bag or in your jacket, and it even won't make any stains or anything. It's definitely my favorite food, and it tastes so good, and it's filling. It's not like you eat an apple and you're hungry again. No, you eat a banana and you're sort of full, which is great too. Yeah.
It's very practical of you. I like this. But another thing is the package is biodegradable too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I also like that it's such a great ingredient in so many different recipes.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yes.
You're right. It's even better than I thought.
The power of teamwork. Okay, so what's the favorite app on your phone?
It's WhatsApp, I think. No, probably it's my alarm droid, my alarm clock for the morning.
Yes.
I use it every day, and it's very, very helpful. Alarm
is so it's just part of your phone, or is it a special app that you have?
Yeah, it's called. It's a special app.
What's it called?
Alarm droid.
Alarm droid. Okay.
Alarm droid. You can also include your favorite song as a wake up
Nice.
song, which is great, but it ruins even the best song you have, because, well, after listening to it 30 times in a row in the morning,
You're like, yeah.
you just think, let me sleep. I can't listen to this anymore. But still, it's a great app.
It sounds good. But I think I like your point. WhatsApp is a good one too, because it has this opportunity to speak with people all over the world.
Yeah,
Easily.
I mean, I just use it the most, so probably I wouldn't want to miss it on my phone.
Well, I just have if I have friends that are traveling internationally, it's so nice because I can communicate with them anyway. Very cool.
Exactly.
Okay, so do you sound really busy? Do you have time for TV? And if you do, like, what's your favorite show?
I stopped watching shows for like a year and a half, I think, pretty much. Yeah, I didn't watch any show since then.
So since you started your blog?
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed watching Game of Thrones. And then I stopped watching it. I didn't see the 5th season yet, which is sort of great. And I think if I had to pick one series, then I probably would say Game of Thrones is my favorite one.
Can I ask what caused you to quit watching TV?
I lose a lot of time already on Facebook and other social media.
Yeah.
And series are also like a little bit of a time sucker. Plus, I thought, oh wow, these guys on Game of Thrones, they're experiencing so many adventures. And I just want to do this stuff myself instead of watching them, like Jon Snow fighting, I don't know, people somewhere in the snow. I want to do this sort of adventure stuff myself as well. So I thought, okay, let me get working on the blog and create my own stuff.
I love it. So we're going to hear more about your adventures soon on your blog, right?
I have some traveling plans, yeah.
I like that. Okay, so how can people find you online?
Just via Facebook, Hauke Fox. I have also Facebook veggie group. It's pretty much called, Facebook veggie sharing group. And on hurrythefoodup.com.
And I imagine you're on all the social medias related to Hurry the Food Up.
Yeah, but probably the easiest way to get in contact with me is Facebook. Just adding me as a friend or just writing me a message, and I usually answer.
Wonderful, Hauke. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Yeah, thank you too. It was great. Nice experience. And of course, I hope it could help some people to step up their SEO game a little bit.
I love it. I hope so too. Thanks to Hauke Fox for being my guest on today's episode of the Chopped Podcast. If you were busy running around and couldn't jot down something important, don't worry, we took the notes for you. Just head on over to choppedpodcast.com where we put up links for each show, including the stuff we talked about today and more information about our guests. I hope you're loving the Chopped Podcast. I know we love putting it together for you. It would mean the world to us if you'd head over to iTunes or Stitcher and give it a review. You can do that right now. Also, you can spread the word about the Chopped Podcast using @ChoppedCon on Twitter or Instagram. Your shout-outs really mean a lot. You inspire me, so I hope today's show was helpful and inspirational to you as well. Thanks for listening and have a great week.